Hi everyone, and welcome back to Qigong of Tulsa. I'm sitting here with one of my senior students, Pejman Ebadi, and he is helping us put together some videos to, again, put on YouTube, but also to help teach people who don't understand what we do in the school and in general what Qigong is. So thank you for coming back, and for those of you that this is the first time you've come to Qigong of Tulsa, welcome, and please come back and see us, and I hope that what you see on the channel is very helpful.
We're going to talk about healing disease with Qigong or through Qigong. So Mr. Bowman has a lot to say about this topic specifically because obviously you have a treatment facility here in Tulsa, Oklahoma that, all you do is Qigong treatments and bringing about healing in people via Qigong. So basically, I'll just turn the floor over to you. Is it turn the floor or turn the table over to you?
Floor
Right here.
Floor to you.
Yeah, turn the floor over to you.
That's a real intense topic for us. It's almost, it's not as theoretically is not as solid, one path sort of thing, because in Qigong we deal with three things. We deal with your physical situation, we deal with the spirit within you at the time, and we deal with your mental place. And so there isn't just one prescribed move, if you will, for healing a certain situation. And let me be upfront about the term healing. We will do our best to make your life better than it was. I don't want to give somebody the wrong impression that you come in here and I'm promising I'm going to heal you. But the term healing is one that you can't evade. But on the other hand, let's make it perfectly clear to those that are listening that, we will do everything we can and endeavor to help you. And the reason that is, it's real simple. Everyone is different. When we start assessing an individual's situation, we have to determine what started it. How long have you been suffering with this? What effect has it had on your mind? What do you believe? Do you believe you're sick? Do you believe you're going to die? Do you believe it's a lost cause? There's a lot of factors involved in Qigong from the clinical perspective that are different from just learning an exercise. And one of the things that we do is once we make an assessment and we begin the treatment program, we also assign what we call homework, which are exercises that could be in general exercises, or they could be illness specific. So I don't know if that was enough to answer your question.
Well, let's talk about, because I know, you actually use a variety of different healing modalities such as cupping, acupressure, not acupuncture,
correct,
which uses needles, but acupressure is basically similar to acupuncture.
That's where it came from.
Yeah, but you use your thumb, right?
Correct. You use different,
fingers.
Different hand configurations. Right. Yeah, but you're pressing on acupoints, which instead of sticking needles in these acupoints, we use our fingers.
Is there a benefit to one or the other? Like, are they just different tools for different uses, or are they different tools for the same purpose?
You can look at it from both perspectives. For the same purpose, yes. But there are times when a general application with acupressure would require a little more specific application that you can accomplish by using a needle. And but for the most part, I've run into that issue in 20 years probably 3 times where, I said,
you needed a needle.
Yeah, I wish I was an acupuncturist. So, but for the most part, acupuncture comes from the basis of acupressure. Yes, acupuncture comes from acupressure.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, so acupressure, cupping, what other modalities?
Energy work, meridian work.
So energy work is kind of like basically almost hovering your hands.
Correct.
And moving the energy.
Uh-huh.
And all of these tools, so you said, you said energy work and then what else?
I said meridian, energy.
Meridian, okay.
Meridian work.
Massage.
Sure, medical massage.
Mm-hmm.
You always, whenever you work with energy on anybody, you must what we call finish, right? You've heard that. You've been learning the clinical side,
for
right?
a long time.
In other words, when you work with energy work, when you, for lack of a better term, upset an area that's had a concentration of energy, which usually means a blockage, when you open that blockage up, you must lead the chi, the blocked energy, away from that point.
Yeah.
If you don't, then it's just going to go right back to that spot and it's going to be blocked again. So that's a method of energy work right there. You can use energy to move the client's or the patient's own energy as well. Mm-hmm. So it's a very different approach, and there's a lot of tools at your disposal. And they go back as far as, up to 5,000 years ago. So they've been around a while.
That's crazy. 5,000 years.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So why do you use these tools in the first place? Because I want to get to the root of what Qigong defines as a sickness, right? In a lot of cases, it's about there is a blockage of Qi there.
Right.
And so all of these tools are geared towards opening that blockage?
Well, yes.
Is that pretty much the source of, or the cause of all sickness as Qigong sees it?
From our perspective, the improper flow or stagnated Qi flow, lack of flow rather, causes an imbalance in the functioning of the organs. Mm-hmm. And we have 2 sets of circumstances. The one is the nourishing cycle, which goes in a circle. This organ feeds this organ, that feeds this organ, and it goes in a cycle. But when you have stagnation or any imbalance that occurs, then you have, whereas you had a circle, now you've got a crisscross. Within that circle of this organ is going to affect this organ, that in turn is going to affect this organ. So when we look at a situation when somebody comes in, from our clinical perspective, we have to try to determine the root of the issue. And if you've had a situation where cancer, let's say the person has developed cancer, actually they didn't just develop cancer. Cancer developed years ago. It just now made itself present, if you will. So
that's pretty much every problem, right? I mean, that's not even just cancer is like the bodily one, but I feel like just in problems in life, once the problem manifests, like if you have a problem with your car, by the time that the problem manifests, it was probably building up for a while, or like in other cases, it's like, I was like listening to this talk and this guy was talking about how like, the saying of like eat an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Well, it's not like eat one apple today and it's done. Then no, you don't need to, but it's like, it's over years. Correct. And likewise, sicknesses or any other issue in our life develops when maybe in one day, if you eat poorly or sleep poorly, it doesn't affect you. But if it's prolonged and it compounds, then that's when these problems show up. And with Qigong, it's the same way, right? Like it's, if a patient comes in and they're having a sickness, it's not that, for the most part, it's not that yesterday something happened and now they're sick. It's building up over time, because it takes a while for the qi to get blocked, right? It's not usually instant.
It takes for everything, to go from the nourishing cycle to go to the destructive cycle. It takes a lot, and then it takes a while for that destructive cycle to kick in, to show up, and then by then you're what, 4 organs that have been affected.
And this happens for you a lot, based on what you've told me, is that a patient comes in and they say, I have a problem with my knee, let's say. It's just an example. By the time you analyze and assess, you realize that it's not the knee whatsoever. It's like the liver or the kidney that
it's somewhere else.
It's somewhere else. And it's just showing up there.
It's just finally making itself known. But let me add, if you will, something that is extremely important in a diagnosis or assessment. I shouldn't use the word diagnosis, but we assess people's health status. The thing that we incorporate into that assessment is always their mental state, their spiritual state. And if you can imagine, if somebody tells you, hey, you've got cancer of such and such, the first thing that's going to come through your mind is not, hey, this is cool, let's go celebrate, obviously, right? So you're going to go into a frame of mind in which...
Fear, panic.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Fear, panic, sadness. I'm going to die. What we have to do when you have a situation that's negative like that is try to reshape that person's thinking process. Explain to them, look, there are these people that survive these things. Be the one that is in that group that survives, not the one that dies from that specific cancer. 100%. Be a part of that group that survives. So let's change our approach. Your body will heal itself.
Yeah.
It really will if you allow it to do that. And your mind is exactly what it takes to complete that physical, mental healing process. But you can't just heal the body without healing the mind and the spirit. You can't do it. It won't happen.
Yeah, it's like the body is a manifestation of the mind in a lot of ways.
It is, especially from our current situation where we live off of our conscious mind. Whereas in Qigong, we try to take you from the conscious mind, bring you over to the subconscious mind so that your subconscious mind, so that your conscious mind will not interrupt your subconscious mind in its healing job, if you will, in its healing process. So we have to take an individual's thought process and try to say, look, empty the mind. Allow your subconscious mind to heal you. It's not magic. It's not voodoo. It's what we have within us that we don't use.
It's an innate.
We're born with it.
Yeah. It's kind of like our body always is trying to get back into homeostasis, in some shape or form. And it's like, I've seen like ducks or animals when they fight, after the fight is done, after their body is out of homeostasis, they immediately do something like flap their wings really hard or something to get themselves back in homeostasis. And our body also has those natural mechanisms within it. But because we have such a strong conscious mind compared to probably most animals, we can actually interrupt that process.
Right.
We get in the way. And we do, right? Yeah.
People think themselves sick.
100%, yeah.
And people think themselves to death.
Yeah.
And that's something that's why in Qigong we don't just say, okay, you've got kidney problems. Okay, so we work on the kidney. No. Work on the kidney, we work on the liver. We look at that destructive cycle, and then we look at the legs. There's a large number of tools that we have at our disposal because of what we do, in the sense that not only do we work physically on that person, but we strive to help them work on their mental connection with that. And I've had instances where a new student signs up and they'll sit there and tell me, well, my doctors say this is wrong, that's wrong, this is, and they have a list, and you're like, ooh, stop. 6 months later, you don't hear any of that anymore. Because they feel better. And through the use of Qigong, they no longer have this anxiety because they're feeling better. And in the process thereof, see, the mind and the body have been working together to heal the person.
Yeah.
So all these things were merely symptoms. Things that were maybe a classic, next step for if you're suffering from this, the next step is this. Mm-hmm. And then the next step is this. So you start drawing that line, reading the internet sometimes too much.
Yeah. And also I know that the media does play a part in perpetuating, for lack of a better word, certain diseases. Like, there are cases that a certain disease, you would not hear of anyone having it. And then all of a sudden the media starts saying, there's this disease going around. And all of a sudden there's like thousands of cases of that. Not necessarily because, it's almost like once that thought was projected out into the mass consciousness of people, and people started thinking, oh, I'm going to get this new thing or whatever it is, then it actually becomes reality because they start believing it. And also the media plays a part in this, which again, we are conscious choosers of our own thoughts. We're not like robots, we can choose. Right. But the media and the constant bombarding of our minds is very powerful. It can literally brainwash you. But they also emphasize the number of casualties, let's say, of a certain issue, whatever it may be, versus the number of people that are overcoming that.
Correct.
And I think that emphasis also messes with people's minds, and it perpetuates a certain disease. So I think those are all, it's cool that Qigong takes all of that into consideration, versus nothing against Western medicine. I think Western medicine and what it can accomplish is great. And these two things, these Qigong or alternative medicine and Western medicine, can be like the yin yang symbol and work simultaneously together.
We have to reach that point. That to me is the goal before I end my career, is that someday we both, Western and Qigong, can work together.
Yeah. But for the most part, the Western medicine looks at, let's say, it doesn't look at the mind, it looks at the symptom, the physical symptom.
Correct.
Whereas Qigong...
It's very localized.
Very localized, yeah. And Qigong says, what are the common or the usual emotions that you are embodying every day? Because you have this chart where it's like, if you are angry all the time, then your liver gets affected, right? Or your heart.
Lungs.
Lungs, okay.
Too. So,
but it's cool, like, it associates each emotion. If it's felt constantly and perpetually, it leads to a certain organ getting affected.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally.
And that's cool that Qigong takes all of that into consideration, because to me, that's a much more accurate assessment of why somebody developed a certain disease versus, now you have this disease, let's deal with it. It's important to know, because you can heal it now, but if they keep perpetuating that way of thinking, they're going to keep perpetuating the disease. Like, you may heal that liver problem now, but they're going to go back to thinking those same thoughts.
Well, you've heard me talk about this. We have one scholarship in our clinic that's offered to anyone who's got a serious illness, and their treatments will be on a donation basis. And that's something that I feel that we will do. That's us. Do you want to know how many people have taken me up on it?
0.
I've had 3.
Mm-hmm. But they don't show back up?
They don't show.
Well, they say like he who pays attention.
Well, and that may
or
be,
like
but where
it.
I'm taking this is, and due to the obvious, what am I trying to say? Facebook, because of Facebook, let me rephrase it that way. Because of Facebook, I can see their posts, and the latest individual is angry. He's totally angry. Totally. The other one is, well, in their case, it's kind of like not really their fault because they rely on other people for things. So we'll call that one a half casualty. But nevertheless, they're not here. And that's my whole point. And where I'm leading you with that is that this is the problem. It's right here. This one individual chooses to be mad. You know, and that just blows my mind. What are you going to do about it? You can't do anything about it. So the least you can do is do something that might help you, right? But then again, that's how we work. We being us humans, our mind is, well, I call it a terrible thing sometimes. But anyway, that's...
Yeah, do you mind if you put up that chart of the association between these emotions and diseases up for the audience?
Sure.
Because that's from your book, right? It's one of the
Correct.
charts. Okay, yeah. So we'll put that up probably right now. And as you can see, a lot of emotions, those are you call them the 7 pathogenic emotions, correct?
Exactly right.
Because there's 7 of them and they're deadly. They could be deadly if you keep feeling them all the time.
Oh, they totally will lead you to wrinkle up and just sort of go away.
For sure. And so we'll put those up right now. As you can see, these lead to certain diseases and also affecting certain organs, which I find super fascinating. I think they're spot on. And I'm sure that we can all look at people in our own lives that really felt an emotion strongly all the time, and they got a certain part of their body got affected, certain organs, certain emotion, or certain disease started developing in them. And it's really common. You see the guy that's always angry, and then they get a heart attack. Or
you see guys that are perfectly healthy that die of a heart attack. But one of the things that I find is very difficult for the Western mind to understand sometimes is, and I've seen it belittled a lot when you use the word balance. And to many, it's an incomprehensible kind of, what do you mean by balance? It's too simple of a word. It has to have a long scientific word before somebody will
pay attention.
Sure, so that's why I use the term for Qi. I use bioelectricity. That sounds, big time.
Fancy.
We've arrived. But it's true. It is bioelectricity, and we have to understand that we're a machine that thinks, a machine that feels. We are an electrical circuitry filled body, and we have the 3 storage fields. This storage field is considered the battery. This is where our emotions are stored, and up here is where our brain and where we think. These 3 storage fields have They operate exactly the same way. Your gut and your brain are connected as one, which we haven't discussed that, but the neurons that work your brain are the same ones that work your gut. And
the second brain.
Yeah. And of course you've heard the theoretical explanation of that. But, the difference is really the fact that your gut area has more neurons than your brain. And different to those two aspects is that your brain allows to think. But your DNA, yourself, and all that, that's in your lower body. That's what you get from your parents. So if you allow this guy to constantly drive your day, you're never going to allow your body to heal. And it's not smart to be thinking all the time. In fact, it's detrimental to your health.
For sure.
So.
All right. Well, if someone wants to heal themselves with Qigong, would you say that the first step is to calm their mind?
Totally. Seek balance. Mm-hmm. Of course, we can help with that by tailoring movements, meditative thought processes, those kinds of things, and we help them. We tailor their healing journey, if you will, to what they're capable of doing. And it's worth giving it a shot. At least, don't give up. Never give up. Never give up. You don't give up. If you've been dealing with Western medicine all this time and it's falling short somehow, come see us. Tell us what's been going on with Western medicine, and we'll work with your doctor.
Or you can reach out online, QigongofTulsa.com.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But it's like this, in my opinion. Where Western medicine leaves off, there may be something that Qigong picks up on. And where Qigong leaves off, and I want to underline this, where Qigong may be, leaves off, then Western medicine may pick up. It's working together.
100%, yeah.
Totally. I mean, if I break my foot, do I want to go and get herbs? No, I want a shot.
Yeah.
I want something to take the pain away, and I want Western medicine to fix my ankle. So it's not a discussion about who's better for what. No, it's a discussion of let's work together.
For sure.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I think that wraps it up. Is there anything else you want to say in closing regarding healing sickness via Qigong?
No, other than I'm going to reiterate what I said just about a minute or so ago. Don't give up. Please don't give up. For your own good and for the good of your family members and those you may know, don't give up. Don't give up ever. And really, that's about it. Thanks everybody for listening to us ramble on.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. And more videos about Qigong will be made soon, and we'll share those with you very shortly. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.